Namaste. I'd like to begin with a quote of Sri Ramana Maharshi. He said, "Your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world." The essence of self is our true nature, inherently recognized as I am. However, this understanding is often obscured by our association with the ego, which makes us perceive ourselves as this body or individual, creating a misleading awareness. There are three states of consciousness known as Jagrat, the wakeful stage, Svapna, the dream state, and Sushupti, the deep sleep state. As stated in the Mandukya Upanishad, there is a constant presence in all three states, called Turiya, literally meaning the fourth. Turiya is underlying, eternal, and subjective, known as the Atman or the Self. During waking and dreaming states, we emerge as the ego and perceive the world and ourselves as names and forms. In deep sleep, when we do not rise as the ego, we do not identify with the body, and there is an absence of conscious awareness. The ego, described as an intangible entity, needs to grasp forms to sustain its existence. It initially grasps the body, the attributes attached to the perceived self and body, and then other external forms maintaining its presence. When discussing previous and future births, we must first ask, whose rebirth? If referring to the Atman and assuming it takes different bodies and different wombs, we must define what the Atman is. What is its state of matter, solid, liquid, gas, or plasma? If one Atman differs from another, it must have a boundary or physical limitation. What is its size? After a person dies, how can we distinguish one Atman from another? What distinguishing factors do Atmans possess? When they reside in the living body, where exactly in the body do they exist? Recently, while browsing new videos on YouTube, I came across a clip featuring a woman who described herself as a death expert, spiritual master, and gifted psychic medium, whatever all that means. She claimed she could communicate with spirits and even asserted that she had received a visit from the Atman of a famous young Indian actor who had mysteriously died a few years ago. When I heard her make this claim with such seriousness, I burst out laughing. This claim of the woman highlights a common misconception: the belief in distinct separate souls or Atmas existing within the bodies of living individuals. This misunderstanding stems from the mistaken belief that the Atman is a separate entity rather than the all-pervading essence of existence. The crux of grasping the true self lies not in associating with external phenomena, but in recognizing the self as the unseen essence underlying everything perceptible. I repeat, the Atman or the self is the unseen essence underlying everything perceptible. By concentrating solely on our fundamental essence, I am, and relinquishing all other identifications, the ego will naturally diminish. This requires profound self-inquiry to experience the self as it truly is, beyond superficial forms and misconceptions. Many people who claim to embark on a spiritual journey tend to seek guidance from holy figures, hoping to be taught how to recognize the Atman as if it were a tangible entity. However, true understanding comes through deep self-inquiry and the study of Vedantic scriptures such as the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. These practices work to dismantle layers of ignorance, much like the removal of a thick patina from metals in the earth. Ultimately, we come to understand that the Atman is not a fragmented or isolated soul, but our own attributeless self, subjective awareness or Brahman, which is eternal, all-pervading, infinite, and indivisible. Those who truly grasp this truth recognize the futility of seeking the self outside oneself. Engaging in such a fruitless pursuit is similar to someone asking others, "Do I exist? And if so, where do I exist?" A question that highlights the inherent contradiction in searching for what is, in essence, one's own fundamental reality. The profound revelation is that the Atman is the ever-present, infinite essence that permeates all existence. This understanding dismantles the illusion of separateness and unveils that the self is the fundamental reality underpinning everything. Embracing this truth allows one to experience the ultimate reality not as an abstract concept, but as one's own subjective awareness, the awareness of I am, which is the very core of one's being. This awareness transcends all illusions of individuality and separateness that sooner or later give rise to imagined entities such as gods, deities, angels, and devils. When the Atman or the Self is recognized as the singular all-pervading essence that manifests through the brain, it becomes clear that there can be nothing apart from this all-encompassing reality. In truth, nothing can exist outside of this infinite omnipresent Self. I'd like to conclude this video with 5 Mahavakyas or grand statements of the Upanishads. 1. Prajnanam Brahma. Insight or wisdom is Brahman. Aitareya Upanishad 3.3 Rigveda. 2. Ayamatma Brahma. The Self or Atman is Brahman. Mandukya Upanishad 1.2 of the Atharva Veda. 3. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is Brahman. Chandogya Upanishad 3.14.1 Samaveda. 4. Tattvamasi, that you are. Chandogya Upanishad 6.8.7 of the Samaveda. 5. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 1.4.10 Yajurveda. Remember, the aham or I in this Mahavakya does not refer to the body-bound ego, but simply the awareness of I am. Thank you. Stay blessed. Jai Shri Krishna.